Through the Save the Fraser Declaration, First Nations have exercised their ancestral laws, rights and responsibilities over the lands, waters of their territories. A federal government decision to allow Enbridge Northern Gateway pipeline project and related tanker traffic or tar sands exports by tanker or south coast, contrary to the declaration, could potentially trigger a claim for infringement on First Nations constitutionally protected Aboriginal title and rights and breach Canada's international law obligations. The declaration opens any company who facilitates the transportation of tar sands crude oil through signatory First Nation territories to potentially enforcement action grounded in these signatory nations' respective laws and customs. The large number of impacted nations, the strength of opposition to the project, and weaknesses in the Crown's proposed review process create a volatile legal situation and a high probability of litigation by one or more First Nations that could delay or potentially derail tar sands pipelines and tanker projects. It's also to note the coastal First Nations on the north and central coast passed the Coastal First Nations Declaration banning oil tankers throughout the north coast in March 2010. In upholding our ancestral laws, rights and responsibilities, we declare that oil tankers carrying crude oil from Alberta tar sands will not be allowed to transit our lands and waters.
Economy. When we put the question to the kids, who people were trying to go after this for, and we said, well, what do you guys want? What do you think? And they said, well, we're looking at the news and we know that there was accidents with pipelines in other places, and they said, we know that it's going to cross that river. And one kid said, well, you know, I don't know much about our traditional economy. I really don't know how to hunt. I don't know how to fish. He says, but my grandmother knows how to do all these things, and she makes me dry meat. She makes me dry fish, and I love it. And he says, even though I don't know how to make it, I love to eat it. And if that comes through and that destroys me just getting to eat my dry fish or my dry meat, I don't want it. You guys that are trying to stand up to get money out of these guys to support our future don't need that, because we are young, we will learn, and we have the spirit to do that.
There's signs everywhere that we have to stand up and do something. In 15 years to 20 years, no edible fish coming out of the ocean. That's the state of where we're at. And it's a sad thing to see that to happen to what I felt is sacred and what I loved in those lands of 4 generations of my family that I witnessed feeling and loving the same thing. I think we all deserve that opportunity to be connected to something. Everybody here I know loves somebody. We all care about somebody. What my family and what my relations are saying here today is we love and care the same way you care about somebody, but we love and care the same way about our land and of our water and our resources.
We also feel that you can't just look at the project here, you have to look at all the connections. By rapidly expanding the oil sands so fast, they have to find outlets to sell the product, and so then there are pipelines that potentially impact people.
Clean up the tar sands, for me that's systematic genocide, and they're not even recognizing it as that. Well,
I talked to a chief one time, not too long ago, and said that, and he is the leader of a very successful band where there's zero unemployment. Everybody is working, they've got industry, the money's been invested that they've got has been invested well. And his message to me, when I asked him, why are you successful? He says, because we've made a decision, a conscious decision to move on and take advantage of the opportunities that are available through us in the modern society. And that's why we're doing so well. And I said, well, that sounds like it worked for you.
We're suggesting that the government takes an alternative look at different sources of energy and invest in that, and invest in people.
It's beautiful land, of
And
course.
you know you fish.
I love British Columbia.
You
I
hunt.
grew up
Everybody
in Prince
does.
Rupert where you could walk across the
Yeah.
harbor on the salmon.
Yeah.
You know, they're
And
not
now-
there anymore.
Exactly. And
But
why
here's
is
the
that?
thing. I also know that we have to, there's a little thing called money we need to
Yeah.
sustain our
Eat or
economy.
drink
Where I
it.
am.
You
Yeah.
cannot eat or drink it once the water is gone. Once the fish is gone, what are you going to eat and drink?
Well,
Paper?
if
It's
we,
coming to that. We can't be delusional. It's coming to
Yeah.
that.
The way in which they've operated, Stephen Harper and Joe Oliver, and been very much as though they've said before, Enbridge's project is in the national interest, but they don't have any, they've never done a cost-benefit analysis. They don't know what's in the national interest. And it's not in Canada's interest at all. So, and it's certainly not in British Columbia's interest. And the people with the most to say about it are First Nations, whose territories will be affected by the pipelines if they were to be built. So we have to stop them from being built. And I think we will. I've never been arrested. It's not one of my best points.
I didn't.
There's always the time to be arrested for a good cause.
We're reaching out and we're standing together. And this has never happened before. It's trying to do. We have to stop our dependence on this dirty oil that is so poisonous.
The whole world, and if they stand up together as one, as idle no more, we could do it together, and we could stop Enbridge and Keystone XL and what's the other one? Kinder Morgan. We could stop all that, you know. We start having people joining us here and there, and we'll be strong as one nation.